Salamun alaikum and welcome to The Awaited, a unique show produced by Imam Hussein TV, allowing you an insight into the history, life, legacy and future promise of the awaited Saviour, Imam Al Mahdi alayhi salam. It is the year 260 after Hijrah. Imam Al Hassan alayhi salam has since been martyred, and the Abbasid Caliphate have been frantically looking for his son Muhammad Al Mahdi. The risk to his life is clear, and his minor occultation was a necessity to protect and maintain the institution of Imamah. Yet the question is asked, what would be the situation during the time at the beginning of his minor occultation? There is confusion, bewilderment, and the followers of the Ahlul Bayt need answers, and they need answers quickly. Up steps Uthman Ibn Saeed, the first representative of Imam Al Mahdi alayhi salam. With me on this episode, I have Islamic seminary student, speaker, Khadim Al Hussein, and dear friend of mine, Sheikh Ibraheim Al Ansari. Sheikhna, welcome to the show. Salamun alaikum.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Tell us about the situation of the Shia during the minor, or the beginning of the minor occultation.
Jazakallah khair. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salam ala Muhammadin wa ala ali bayti tayyibin at-tahirin. If I was to summarize the situation of the Shia at that time with one word, I will say anxiousness. The general public were filled with anxiety, not knowing what is about to happen, not knowing where their 12th Imam is going to be, where they will see him, where they will be able to contact him. Because in previous scenarios, yes, you had Imams who, for example, were imprisoned, those that were put under house arrest, those that were forced to stay far away from their lands, but there was even some sort of contact between the Shia and them. Even in occasions like Imam Al-Kadhim alayhi afdalu salatu wassalam, you have the examples of Ali ibn Suwayd, who would be able to contact the Imam and relay or pass messages to the Imam and relay back to the Shia. So there was some sort of connection between the Shia and between the Holy Imam. But suddenly, they see Imam Al-Hassan Al-Askari alayhi afdalu salatu wassalam has been martyred at a very young age. And the reason he is martyred at a very young age is also for a reason. The reason was that the Abbasids know that the 12th Imam will be born from his offspring. Keeping in mind that this in itself shows something very important, which is the idea of the narration being that there will be 12 Imams after the Prophet was so widely spread and so known that the Abbasids already know that this is number 11, number 12 is coming. So they said, you know,
watch.
Yeah. So they were watching his every movement. Even when people wanted to go into his house, many were denied from entering the house of Imam Al-Hassan Al-Askari. They used to have guards set by the government to stand by his door. They used to report back even the food that enters his house and the sadaqah that leaves his house. Imagine to what extent it is.
House arrest. The Imam was under practically house arrest.
Ahsantum. Who it started from Imam Al-Hadi, Imam Al-Hassan Askari, who goes to Samarra. His age is about 2-3 years old. So Imam Al-Hassan Askari practically, he spent his whole life under house arrest. Imam Al-Hadi alayhi afdalu salatu wassalam had some breathing space because after the martyrdom, the martyrdom of Imam Al-Jawad alayhi afdalu salatu wassalam, he had some time in Medina. After that, he went to Samarra under the rulership of Al-Mutawakkil Al-Abbasi, may Allah withdraw his mercy from him. After that, the son of Al-Mutawakkil would kill him, and he was of the lovers of Imam Al-Hadi alayhi afdalu salatu wasalam. So Imam Al-Hadi had some breathing space. After which, no, they went back to their old ways, and Imam Al-Hassan Al-Askari was also under that situation. So they were being watched. The birth of Imam Al-Mahdi ajalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif was hidden from the people. Even those that were within the household of Imam Al-Hassan Al-Askari were not able to recognize that Sayyidah Narjis, the mother of the Imam, was actually pregnant herself. Until the birth actually happened, only a few members, including from the family themselves, knew that Imam al-Mahdi was around. So Imam al-Hasan al-Askari has been martyred at a young age to make sure he has no offspring. Suddenly they are waiting to see, where is the son of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari? Yes, there were some companions that knew of his birth, some family members that knew of his birth. Those that had a strong aqeedah, knowing that definitely there will be 12 imams and the 12th will be the son of Imam Hassan al-Askari, knew that there will be an imam. But the question is, where is he? We cannot see him. 260 years after Hijrah, I'm looking around, I cannot find an imam. So it was a matter of anxiety, if you like.
Yeah. Naturally.
Ahsant.
You could say it was one of the best kept secrets, but one of the most known secrets at the same time.
Ahsant.
Like you mentioned, the government of the time knew, the people all knew. There's been narrations from the imams, from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but at the same time they could not find this Imam al-Mahdi.
Ahsant. And the thing is, if you actually go back a couple of years, during the time of Al-Ma'mun, imagine from his time, he was waiting for the birth of the 12th Imam. How do I say that? Some scholars...
How many years before is this?
So Al-Ma'mun would be during the time of Imam al-Jawad alayhi afdhalu salati wassalam. So we are talking about 60 years before this. About 60, 70 years before this. Ahsant.
Yeah.
So Al-Ma'mun is waiting for the birth of Imam al-Mahdi. And knowing that Imam al-Mahdi would come from the offspring of Imam al-Jawad alayhi afdhalu salati wassalam, hence some scholars actually make a commentary that even the marriage of Imam al-Jawad to al-Fadl was for the sake that the Imam al-Mahdi ajal ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif comes from her offspring. So that he comes from the offspring of al-Ma'mun. This is one of the ideas that they had. But anyway,
they plan, but God is the best.
Allah is the best of planners. Look at al-Fadl. She had no children from Imam al-Jawad alayhi afdhalu salati wasalam. Not only did she not have any children from him, she wasn't able to bear children from him. And it is this hate that caused her to also then poison the Imam. Anyway, so people were awaiting this. But it suddenly became clear. When does it become clear? Because we have a rule. No Imam who is martyred or who dies regardless, but all Imams are martyred, can be buried if there isn't an Imam praying on them. This is a very important point. Meaning, Imam al-Hasan al-Askari cannot be buried until there is an Imam that can pray on the Imam. لأن لا يصلي على إمام غير الإمام. So comes the person who thinks they can wear the dress of Imamah and stands at the janazah of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, is a man by the name of Ja'far ibn Ali al-Imam al-Hadi alayhi afdhalu salati wasalam. So the brother of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari. He stands at the janazah and he tells everyone to move to the side, for I am your Imam and I will pray on this janazah. The first public appearance of Imam al-Mahdi is in this moment. So year 260 after Hijrah, Imam al-Mahdi comes out of the house as a 5-year-old to the public. Of course, we know that age does not matter to an Imam. وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْحُكْمَ صَبِيًّا, as the Quran says.
And you have previous examples as well.
Previous examples are many. Imam al-Jawad at the age of 9, Amir al-Mu'mineen was appointed as a wasi and as a khalifa at the age of 10 by the Holy Prophet in Hadith al-Dar. Many examples from prophets as well. Nabi Allah Isa in the cradle, they ask, who is this man? So the revelation comes that Maryam do not answer. Let Nabi Allah Isa answer. He says, Inni Abdullah. Look at the beautiful introduction. Inni Abdullah. Atani al-kitab wa ja'alani nabiyya. So he started with saying, I am a slave of Allah Azza wa Jal. He has brought me the book, which means what? He's a prophet, or a messenger rather. Wa ja'alani nabiyya, meaning he's a prophet, in the cradle. So we have examples, Quranic examples and hadith. Anyway, so he comes at the age of 5 and he says, Tanahha ya am. Oh my uncle, move to the side.
He has to.
Everything, there's a specific person for everything. Imamah is not a joke. In the specific scenario, no, not at all, not at all. There is no such thing as this person is older than me or this person is younger than me.
Imam is Imam.
Which brings actually an example to my mind. At the time of Imam al-Jawad alayhi afdhalu salati wasalam, not his uncle, his great uncle used to teach in the masjid. So not the brother of Imam al-Rida, Rather, the brother of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far used to teach in the masjid. So the uncle of Imam al-Rida, meaning it's his great uncle. He was potentially in his 80s, in his 90s, when Imam al-Jawad entered the masjid al-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He rose up. Now can you imagine an 80, 90-year-old man who's a faqih is suddenly rising for an 8, 9-year-old, and all his students are watching. He went and he started kissing his feet and his hand. So they said to him, what are you doing? This is not your nephew, this is your great nephew. Yani, he's like your grandson. He said, Allah has willed for Imamah to be with him and not with me. Khalas. For here, Ja'far moved to the side. This is my duty. So he prays on the janazah of Imam Al Askari. People now know what? Imam Al Mahdi is alive. Imam Al Mahdi is present. But anxiety returns. Why? Because Imam Al Mahdi starts his minor occultation. This is where people are now asking more questions. Fine. Now we know the Imam is there.
Where is he gone?
And we know in our narrations that Imam Al Mahdi will have a ghaybah. According to some narrations, he will have ghaybatan, 2 ghaybahs. One of them attributed to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He will have 2 ghaybahs. We have narrations like that from Imam Sadiq, from other Imams. He will have 2 ghaybahs. But we didn't think it would be this soon. What is happening? Where is the Imam?
We spent no time with the Imam. We haven't spoken to the Imam
Ahsant.
properly.
No one has had a conversation with the Imam yet. Mujarrad, he came, he did the salah, he performed the prayer, and now he is gone. He goes into his minor occultation. So the minor occultation starts from the year 260. People are looking around. We have questions. We have taxes to pay, like khums and zakat. And I'm looking around and I don't find the person to give it to. And I don't find the person to answer to answer my questions. Where is the Imam? Where is that person that prayed on the janazah of Imam Al Askari?
So it's the year 260. The Imam has gone into his minor occultation. And you said there's been questions. The community, the Shia, the followers, everyone's been asking questions. But the Imam wouldn't leave the people without a representative, without a path to him, without some sort of way that his message reaches the people. Now, a name that usually comes across everyone's ears is Uthman Ibn Saeed. Who is this figure? And why is he so important when it comes to the occultation of the Imam?
So, not only does the Imam prepare, let me go to the first part of the question,
Sure.
I'll come to the second. The first part of the question is the Imam would prepare a representative. Yes, definitely. But let's understand something, and this is something many times we forget. It wasn't Imam al-Mahdi that prepared representatives in that sense. Rather, if you go back into history, you'll find that the first person who started preparing a network of representatives was Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi afdal salati wassalam. Look at the time.
For Imam al-Mahdi.
For Imam al-Mahdi. The purpose was for Imam al-Mahdi. Why do I say that? The Shia also had to get used to a representative. They had to get used to questions being answered. Other than the fact that the Shias have now moved from country to country. Like look at, for example, Muawiyah, may Allah withdraw his mercy from him. When he came to power, during the time that Amir al-Mu'mineen was in Kufa, of course, before the martyrdom of the Holy Prophet, Amir al-Mu'mineen went to Yemen to perform da'wah. He gained followers. His followers, upon the Khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen, moved from Yemen to where? To Kufa. So now you have a lot of Shias who became Muslim at the hands of Amir al-Mu'mineen living where? In Kufa. Muawiyah comes to power. One of the first decisions he makes after he put Ziyad ibn Abi as a wali over Kufa, one of the first decisions he makes is he causes those Yemenis that came and some other Shias to move towards Iran, like Qom and other places. So the Shias are now moving. Then, of course, the Imams lived in some sort of state of taqiyya during the time of the Umayyads. Then the Abbasids come, and the weakening of the Umayyad dynasty started at the time of Imam al-Baqir alayhi afsatu wassalam, but the true weakness happened during the time of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq when the Abbasids took over, and it was still a bit restless. This was an opportunity, which is why you find many narrations come from Imam Sadiq, many of the teachings come from Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam. You find that he taught in Medina, he taught in Mecca, he taught in Kufa, meaning he held lessons in different areas. And of the things he did was he spread wukala, he spread representatives across all lands. From Kufa, he put representatives. In Qom, he put representatives. Wherever you find, in Yemen, he put representatives. In Basra, he put representatives. So he started a network of representatives. What was their role? The Shia that were far from the Imam now had a link between them and the Imam. The Shia that were far from the Imam and their questions couldn't get answered instantly, he set representatives who knew the ahkam, who have in one way or another either narrated from the Imam or have studied under the Imam, for them to then guide that Islamic community outside. This carried on. When did it become stronger? Imam al-Kadhim alayhi afdal salatu wasalam is in prison. He's in prison, now we need...
More needed than ever.
More needed than ever.
Yeah.
So this is all preparation. Then, after Imam al-Kadhim, Imam al-Rida does the exact same thing. Why? He's in Khurasan. Khurasan is far from everyone. It's not like now we can catch a plane and we're in Mashhad in about a couple of hours. It's very far for people. Before that, he was in the hub, Medina. Everyone that comes to Hajj, everyone that comes, would visit the Imam. Now he's far. Network of representatives. Imam al-Jawad, same thing. Imam al-Hadi is now under house arrest in Samarra. What does he do? Network of representatives. Imam al-Hasan al-Askari does the same. So what do they do? They want to share the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. They want to answer the people's questions. They want to guide the people towards what is true. They share the aqa'id, they share the fiqhi masail. Uthman Ibn Saeed is of those representatives that did not start this role during the time of Imam al-Mahdi. Rather, he started it as part of the network of representatives of Imam al-Hadi.
Imam al-Hadi, not even Imam al-Askari.
Imam al-Hadi.
Okay.
So the start of this role, why am I giving this big introduction? Is so that we understand how the grounds were being laid by the Imams. Understand, by the way, one thing. Imamah, not only is it a continuation from prophethood, but it is also one role with prophethood. Meaning, Adam alayhi wa ala nabina wa alihi afdalu salati wa salam, and our beloved Imam al-Mahdi ajallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, their mission is one. One mission. No difference. Sharia is different, rulings are different, put this to the side. The mission is one. For here, this was the idea that we need to understand. So each Imam was preparing the grounds for the next Imam. No, the Prophet was preparing the grounds for the Imams. No, the Prophet was preparing grounds for Imam al-Mahdi. Let's go back. Nabi Allah Ibrahim was preparing the grounds for Imam al-Mahdi. Go back. Adam was preparing the grounds for Imam. It's one mission. No, let's not differentiate between them. So when we understand it is one mission, we understand that their role is one.
In the grander scheme of things, when you look at it like that, yeah, people assume it's just Imam al-Askari, Imam al-Mahdi, occultation. They don't understand the backstory to it. That it was prepared from prophethood.
In fact, there's a book titled Al-Jama'ah al-Salihah. A very important book. It shows you how, from the Imam of Amir al-Mu'mineen up until Imam al-Mahdi, how that period of Imamah, those 12 Imams, were in fact all one mission with no gaps in between. The missions are one, there's no gaps between the Imams at all. So, Uthman ibn Saeed was a person who started this role at the time of Imam al-Hadi alayhi afdal salati wa salam. After Imam al-Hadi, he became one of the closest companions of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari as well, and continued in this role as a representative of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari. In fact, not only did he continue in this manner, remember earlier I said Imam al-Hasan al-Askari was under house arrest, people were watching who was going in, who was going out. So of the things that were happening, zakat and khums was not easy to reach the Imam. One of the people who were in charge of bringing the zakat and khums to Imam al-Hasan al-Askari was Uthman ibn Saeed. He was what you call in Arabic a Zaman. A Zaman is a person who sells oil, ghee, oil for food, and هالأمور. So he used to have bags with ghee, with oil, and he used to hide the money, the dinars and the dirham within them. And he used to bring them to Imam Al Askari alayhi afdal salati wa salam. This is one of his
See how
rules.
difficult it was at the time for the Imam.
Extremely
Yeah,
difficult. Extremely difficult. Then, during the time of Imam Al Askari, now he needs to also prepare his companions that there's going to be a ghaybah. But this is not something he can tell everyone. People hear ghaybah, maybe they will go crazy. People hear ghaybah, maybe they will lose faith. And this is a reality, because the Quran itself says, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ, meaning this is a صفة, it's a characteristic of a person who has true iman, that they have iman in ghaib, they have iman in the unseen. If you have iman in the unseen, this is something difficult then, if it is part of what iman is, because iman is not easy.
Not easy at all.
So now we find that he has allocated a few of his companions that I will inform them of who Imam al-Mahdi is, and that my son has actually been born. Of them is Uthman Ibn Saeed. And there were a few others. One name I want to mention is Ahmed ibn Ishaq, and I'll come back to that name later as well, inshallah. Ahmed ibn Ishaq was also part of them. He would show them, this is Imam al-Mahdi, then he would say something to them. He said, and he will be in ghaybah. And his representative, whom you shall all go back to, يعني هسه you've already reached the highest stage than the rest of the lovers of the Ahlul Bayt. You've come to the close circle, but not all of you will be in contact with him. Of you, there's only one. Imagine what status Uthman ibn Saeed held. Of you, only one person will have that status of meeting the Imam and talking to the Imam, and even you guys who are here seeing the Imam, he will be your connection to the Imam. You won't be able to see him yourself. Who is that man? Uthman ibn Saeed.
SubhanAllah.
For this is who Uthman ibn Saeed is.
Such a high status to have as a
Ahsant.
companion. We will continue with this topic after a short break, inshallah. We will delve further into
Inshallah.
the ghaybah of the Imam. We will see you shortly, dear viewers.
I think it's everyone's dream to work and serve the Ahlul Bayt alayhum salam.
Working with this project allows us to contribute back to the community.
Our main objective is to bring Imam Hussein to every household, or to take people to Karbala.
Producers, cameramen and editors all synchronize to capture, inspire and bring you closer to Abu Abdullah.
Working here is an honor and a privilege, yet nothing compared to the sacrifice of Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Pass on the lantern of Imam Hussein alayhi salam.
Why should you support?
Why should you support?
Why should you support?
Imam Hussein TV is our Husseiniyya to the world.
It's an open university to learn theology, history, law, Quran and many more sciences.
Many rely on our channel as they have no access to any Husseiniyyas or any mosques.
And they have no access to any community events nor scholars, and they solely rely on our broadcasting.
Children in the West have so many questions to ask and are bombarded with questions about their faith.
We aim to educate youth and reverts in a thoughtful manner and language which is interactive, easily digestible and understood.
Our project is fully crowdfunded. We have no sales, no business, no profits.
If you do not support us, who will?
If we don't open a channel, who will?
And if you do not raise the flag of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who will?
We have been operating since 2016 and we have brought to you shows like Morning Barakah,
Ahkam SOS,
Her thoughts.
And the debate show.
We also have created many documentaries on topics such as the death of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
Miracles in Arba'een,
and non-Shias visiting Karbala.
And most importantly,
and most importantly,
We bring you Karbala live.
Karbala live.
Karbala live.
Karbala live.
Labbayka ya Hussein.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back, dear viewers, to the awaited before the break, we were discussing the character and the person that is Uthman ibn Saeed. We will further talk about him and talk about the characteristics that made the Imam choose him. Why him? Why not any of the other companions and the other representatives? Shaykhna, just diving back into the topic, why Uthman ibn Saeed?
طبعا this question is actually a good question. It's difficult to answer. The reason I say it's difficult to answer is because the decisions the Imam makes is sometimes not necessarily clear to everyone.
Yeah.
Because, for example, I might give you certain characteristics of Uthman ibn Saeed. Maybe others also had it. But there are specific things that the Imam recognizes that others do not recognize. For example, Salman, Abu Dhar, Miqdad, amazing companions. We wouldn't differentiate between them unless we had narrations طبعا that says he is a'la from the other bidaraja, the narration
We
that we
differentiate
have
them based on what the Prophet says.
based
Yeah.
on narrations.
Yeah.
وإلا based on what we see ظاهرا, they're the same to us. They're all in a very high status. And likewise, Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, let's understand something. The companions he had, and the reason I'm leaving Imam al-Hadi here is because we're getting close to the time of
Sure.
Imam al-Mahdi. The companions of Imam al-Hasan al-Askari, most of them were devoted companions. Why do I say that? Imam al-Hadi alayhi afdalu salati wassalam, at his time, you had people going left and right. This person said, I'm a prophet. This person said, I don't know what. This person started the firqa. This person said, Imam al-Hadi is Allah himself. Ghulu spread during the time of Imam al-Hadi. Imam al-Hasan al-Askari comes at a time when Imam al-Hadi has taqriban put an end to all of this through his ziyarah jama and through other narrations and through publicly denouncing certain individuals. So those who stayed with Imam al-Hasan al-Askari were close companions of the Holy Imam. All of them had great characteristics. All of them were close to the Imam. And I'm talking about the inner circle, not the general Shia. So of them is those who came and saw Imam al-Mahdi AjAllah Ta'ala Farajuh al-Sharif. Allah Azza wa Jal has willed, because this is part of the will of Allah Azza wa Jal. The choice an Imam makes here is not a choice that he makes from himself. Allah has willed that Uthman ibn Saeed becomes the representative of the Imam. And I really want to clarify this before I say anything else, because this is very important. Then we look at Uthman ibn Saeed. Why is he a suitable candidate to be a representative?
That's a more suitable question. Let's say, yeah.
Not that I'm talking about the question at all. No, the question is a very good question. But the idea is حتى we understand the importance of also being careful sometimes with what we allocate to the Imam and what we allocate to other issues. So why was he a suitable representative? I go back to a narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi afdalu salati wassalam, when he says, do not look at the length of the ruku' and sujood of a person. لأن ذلك شيئا اعتاده. This is something he has become used to. Someone is used to praying, sujood, ruku', is used to it. Routine. Sujood, sometimes it's nice. And you're doing sajda, sometimes, especially if you position yourself in the right way, it can be a very comfortable situation. So this is something they have become used to. Rather, look at the truthfulness in their speech and their trustworthiness in their actions. In fact, we have a narration that not a single Nabi, not a single prophet, and not a single wasi was chosen by Allah Azza wa Jal except with truthfulness in their speech and trustworthiness in their action. Which is why the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was known as what? As-Sadiq al-Amin. The one who is trustworthy and the one in truthful in his speech, and Amin, trustworthy in his actions. In fact, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam appointed Amir al-Mu'mineen, but sometimes this is why is he suitable, what makes him that candidate. We have narrations that say that he chose him based on his truthfulness in his speech and trustworthiness in his action. Let's understand what kind of quality this actually holds. All the Imams, truthfulness in their speech, trustworthy in their actions. A close companion of the Imam then should hold a similar characteristic.
Yeah.
Truthful in his speech, trustworthy in his actions.
As should we all, to be honest, being followers of the Ahlul Bayt.
If I want to claim to become a follower of the Imam, I have to be truthful.
To uphold those
I must never lie,
yeah.
and I must be trustworthy to all.
Yeah.
So, comes Imam Al Hadi alayhi afdalus salati wassalam, and a man, actually we mentioned him earlier, Ahmad ibn Ishaq,
Yeah.
comes to Imam Al
I was
Hadi
waiting for you
alayhi
to come
afdalus
back to
salati
him.
wassalam.
You left me with a cliffhanger there.
Do you know what? I have something else to say about him later. I'll leave you on another cliffhanger, inshallah. So he said to Imam Al Hadi that, Alhamdulillah wa shukr, I can see you and I have access to you. But there are times when, for example, the other Shi'as do not. And there are times when I am not able to reach you. Ahmad ibn Ishaq lived in what today is Iran, in Qom and its areas. So obviously it wasn't always easy to come to Samarra. He said, so who should I trust in this matter? He said, go back to Uthman ibn Saeed, for what he says from me. And what he does from me. He is thiqati. The last time I heard thiqati was when Imam Hussein sent Muslim ibn Aqil to Kufa. لَقَدْ أَرْسَلْتُ إِلَيْكُمْ ثِقَتِي. Let's understand what position a thiqa of the Imam holds. This is not something normal at all. This is not something we can just oversee.
No, of course
An
not.
Imam
Full wakala. He's giving you
exactly
full trust.
this full trust and from an Imam, from an infallible, or immaculate rather, from an immaculate Imam. So thiqati. And he is what? He is also Amin. He is also trustworthy in his actions. If he holds these two characteristics of having complete trustworthiness, طبعا truthfulness and trustworthiness is one. لأنه truthfulness is to be trustworthy with what you give, and trustworthiness is to be truthful in what you do. For it's one. For to have that trustworthiness was a very important thing. No, let me go further. Imam Al-Hasan Al-Askari alayhi afdalu salati wassalam, Ahmad ibn Ishaq asks him the exact same question. The exact same man asks the exact same question. Here he gives a very beautiful reply. He says that go back to Uthman ibn Saeed in this matter, for him and his son are my thiqa.
Him and his son.
Muhammad ibn Uthman. Muhammad ibn Uthman became the second representative of Imam al-Mahdi.
Mm.
Him and his son are my thiqa. And what you hear from them is from me. So now can we imagine what kind of status that trustworthiness gave them? So it was that trustworthiness that allowed Uthman ibn Saeed to then take that position by the Imam, to have that closeness to Imam al-Hadi. And imagine, you are the thiqa of not one infallible. You are the thiqa of 3 Imams. Imam al-Hadi considered you a thiqa. Imam al-Hasan al-Askari considered you a thiqa. Imam al-Mahdi, not only did he consider you a thiqa, he considered you the sole thiqa, the only thiqa, and the only person that people can reach him through. Imagine what kind of position this quality holds. And inshallah we can learn from this
with
as
a
well.
position like that, you'd expect more of the Shia to know who Uthman ibn Saeed is, when I know for a fact that when you mention that name, no one won't even spark a thought or anything at all. But the Imam is giving him not his position, but he's saying, you're my sole thiqa. Everything that I say comes through you and only you.
Should I add to that?
Give me more of them.
I just want to say something on this note. Uthman ibn Saeed, a companion of the Imam, we know nothing about him. We're talking about Imam al-Mahdi. Let's bring anyone.
We have PhDs in the Imam now.
Let's bring anyone. Talk to me for 5 minutes about Imam al-Mahdi. Talk to me for 5 minutes about Imam al-Mahdi. So alhamdulillah, the channel is doing a great job, and I'm truly happy with this, what you are doing, The Awaited, where you are filming multiple episodes on the Imam, and you are going across different circumstances of the Imam and different ideas of the Imam, his life and his companions. Very good. And inshallah everyone can learn from it. But if you look at the taqsir we have towards the Imam, you would understand that today, because for example, there's a history class that I teach. In that history class, this is the 3rd year that I've been teaching it. In that, we go over the 12 Imams. And every year I start, I ask the students, what do you want to learn in this history class? What were you expecting to learn in the history class? Everyone is thinking we're going to learn some amazing things, Islamic Empire, Futuhat, were the Imams part of the Futuhat? Did this happen? Did that happen? Umayyad dynasty, Abbasid dynasty. I'm like, do you know what we're going to do? Biography, Amir al-Mu'mineen to Imam al-Mahdi. Why? I then explain why. How many of you can talk to me for 5 minutes about Amir al-Mu'mineen? Everyone put their hands up. How many can do 5 minutes about Imam Al-Hassan? All the hands go down. Imam Al-Hussein, hands go up.
back.
Imam Zainul Abidin, half. Imam Al-Baqr, etc. Imam Al-Mahdi, the reality is, we actually do not know much about him. So this is excellent. And then of the things, of the rights that that we have, or that the Imam has over us, is that we should know who he is and how his life was. And of that is knowing his representatives, like Uthman Ibn Saeed, especially with that position that he holds of being a thiqah of 3 Imams. In the same manner that I give that position to Muslim ibn Aqil, and I would make a effort to go and visit Muslim ibn Aqil in Masjid al-Kufa and to perform his ziyarah. Why? Because Imam al-Hussein said he is my thiqah, not because of anything else. The position he was given is what drives me towards him. Likewise, Uthman ibn Saeed, 3 infallible Imams, have called him my thiqah.
Being in a position like that, there is no way you don't face challenges. Being the sole representative, the sole source, the thiqah of the Imam, of 3 Imams, no one else can see the Imam apart from you. There is no doubt that there are challenges, and challenges we can't even fathom. What are some of those challenges? What stopped him? What came in his way? What did he have to overcome when it came to protecting the Imam?
There's multiple ways to actually tackle a question like that. We can go aqaidi, and then we can go circumstance, and then we can go, for example, his relationship with the Imam. If we separate it into those 3.
I'd love it to be separated like that.
So, aqaidi issue is, I mentioned earlier, Imam al-Hadi firaq started.
Yeah.
So different people, this person claimed prophethood, this person claimed imamah, this person claimed this. When something like that happens, let's understand that it didn't start from Imam al-Hadi. From the time of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, firaq started opening up. In fact, firaq started opening up after the martyrdom of certain individuals. Like after the martyrdom of Imam al-Kadhim, suddenly you had a firqa called al-Waqifiyya.
Yeah.
Al-Waqifiyya said what? Imam al-Kadhim is the final Imam, and he will be the Qa'im. In this specific scenario, we have a new firqa that is now growing during that time as well. And they are what? They are opposing the idea of a 12th Imam. So now you have firaq that are against you. You had, for example, al-Kaysaniyya. They came after the death of Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyya. During the time of Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyya, there was no such thing as Kaysaniyya. It was after his death that they came. So all of these people are now coming after the deaths and martyrdoms of certain individuals. After the martyrdom of Zayd ibn Ali, Radwanullah ta'ala alayh, Zayd al-Shaheed, came as Zaydiyya. They weren't present during the time of Zayd. So here you find that these firaq obviously come now with different aqaidi beliefs. When you have a different aqaidi belief, when you do not believe in a 12th Imam being present, you will be attacked left, right and center. See, now we are in a state of occultation with no representatives around us. Even then the Shia are attacked. You believe in an Imam that's hiding. You believe in an Imam that is like this. You believe in an Imam like this, causing some of the Shia who are weak in their faith of the Imam, then questioning themselves. Correct or no?
Correct.
So now imagine at a time when these firaq were more, and they were more outspoken, and they were all around you. So the aqaidi issue was a very great issue that Uthman ibn Saeed then had to be a great knowledgeable man to be able to answer them.
Not just a trustworthy man, a knowledgeable man as
great
well.
knowledgeable man. Wa illa aqaid, we both know. In fact, this is a conversation we had earlier, that aqaid is not something for everyone to speak about. And yes, certain aqaid everyone can speak about, but when you want to go in the depths of debates and the depths of understanding, so here you find Uthman ibn Saeed is then that knowledgeable man who was able to then fix this specific issue. This second issue was the circumstances of the time. The circumstances meant what? That you have a man by the name of Ja'far ibn Ali, also known as Ja'far al-Kadhab, although some scholars say that towards the end of his life, he did tawbah and became known as Ja'far al-Tawwab. He has come and he has claimed imamah. Imam al-Mahdi said, "Tanahha ya am."
And he is the brother of Imam Hussein Al Askari.
He's the brother of Imam Hussein Al Askari. He said, "Oh, my uncle moved to the side." You'd think he'd stop there. The reality is, because the Imam went back into occultation, it was still an opportunity for him to continue. So he continued proclaiming imamah. He made stronger ties with the government. He even made deals with them that they will get a cut from the khums and the zakat that he will receive. So it was a win-win situation, if you like. Now, of course, he has to now deal with the situation. How do I make people understand that your Imam is an occultation? Your Imam, yes, you will not be able to see him, but I have a connection to him. So the circumstances of the time caused what? People to be doubtful. And there are many
He
examples.
could easily be called a liar.
He could easily be
You
called
want
a
to
liar.
benefit from the name of Imama and
Ahsant, ahsant. He could easily be called a liar. And which is why, by the way, there's even many examples, if you go back, of people that questioned him being the representative of the Imam, and he would do certain things with them, or the Imam would guide him to do certain things with them in order to make sure that they have itmi'nan, that they become guided towards that.
miracles or
In some cases, for example, in one case there was a case where he foretold something, where he gave a person 2 pieces of clothing, like that which he would use for his kafan.
sure.
And he said, you will need these very soon. And he died, and he used the 2 pieces of clothing as his kafan. So this is an example. So he used to do certain things like this to make people understand that there is a connection to the Imam, and he used to bring letters from the Imam signed by the Imam. So for example, even in the example of Ja'far al-Kadhab, or al-Tawwab, according to some scholars that said he did tawbah at the end of his life, comes a time when he obviously proclaims the Imam, etc., and he says, I know all knowledge and all science of religion. This letter, Ahmad ibn Ishaq, he's come up for the 3rd time now, and I still have something to say about him. Ahmad ibn Ishaq comes forward and he brings this letter, he gives him to Uthman ibn Saeed. Remember, by the way, I said that Ahmad ibn Ishaq was of the people that saw Imam al-Mahdi. Yet he wasn't of the people that then became of his representatives, or of those that had direct connection. Even he had to go through Uthman ibn Saeed. He comes to Uthman ibn Saeed, he says that this is what Ja'far has written. Please, if you can, just forward it to the Imam. The Imam sees it, he replies with a letter. He says that Ja'far does not even know the start of the prayer time and the end of it. So here you find Imam al-Mahdi is now communicating to the Shia through signed letters. So this was another way. The 3rd challenge that we said we will address is, how does he then bring the letters, and how does he bring the money to the Imam, and how does he take the money out of the house of the Imam to spread it to those who need it. And he, I'll keep this very short, he used the exact same way that he used with Imam Al Askari, where he would have bags that were filled with ghee and oil, and between them he used to hide the money and any other objects that he used to have to bring to the Imam or move it. Why? As you might tell me, they don't know where Imam al-Mahdi is, so there's no guard standing by his door. The reason is so that people do not know he is going to see Imam al-Mahdi, so they do not know his location.
So he has to keep it hidden at all times.
Most
anyway,
definitely, at all times.
Not to attract attention.
Ahsan.
It's been a very insightful talk we've had, Sheikhna.
Jazakum
And
Allah
we've
khair.
learned a lot, inshallah. The viewers have
Allah
learned a lot and opened some doors for them to go study further, not just about Uthman ibn Saeed, but about our awaited Imam, inshallah.
Inshallah.
We conclude with a short dua. Sheikhna, please, if you can, for us.
جزاكم الله خير. There's no better dua than the dua of faraj, inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين، وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
Thank you very much, Sheikhna.
جزاكم
Thank you
الله
very
خير.
much, dear viewers, and inshallah we will return soon with another episode of The Awaited, where we will discuss further into the life of Imam al-Mahdi alayhi salam. Thank you.